Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again, and you know what's really funny is that I've told you guys over and over and over again I'm gonna do an X-Files Chicks ranked video. And I was really looking forward to doing that. I thought, doing these types of list videos, they're very fun, even though, they don't get very many views. They're just something I like to do because it's like, I don't know, like you think about that stuff and you think, oh, nobody else has talked about that. So, but I was working on it yesterday. I swear to you, I was working on it. And I was going down the list. I was like, oh my God. It was not good at all. So, that list was it was a failure. There are a couple who, I guess they kind of stick out. Like the ones from Suzuki in season 3, which was our number 3 favorite episode. But I was like, this is going to be really awkward. And it's going to be really hard because they all just look so dull and so similar, with these ugly 90s haircuts. And you have Scully too, and you have 13 different iterations of her that you have to rank as well. And I don't know, do you guys think that I should still do that video? Would you guys still like to see me suffer through doing that? Because I will still do it if you want me to. It's just, I was like, ugh. It was so hard. I didn't even want... I was frustrated too because I was really excited about possibly doing that. So instead of that, I thought, okay, I'll review a movie. And then I thought, well, what movie am I going to do? I don't know. So then I thought, maybe I'll do what I said and I'm going to rank the AHS Season 10 characters. And I want to get this stuff over with the ranking, and then tomorrow maybe I'll do Season 11, and after that I'll have to do something else. I won't be able to be like, okay, I'm going to rank the American Horror Story settings now, this, that, I won't be able to do any of that. So, here we go. Now, as you guys remember, Double Feature was terrible. The first half started off really, really good. In fact, I would say that the first half should have been a whole season. A whole 13 episodes. You could have even made a series around the idea that vampires can be made by taking pills and that all this stuff with talented or not talented, and it was very, very interesting and it was very cool. I really liked it a lot, but then it just completely fell apart like usual. And then they made a pandemic finale, which was only 30 measly minutes. Then the second half was so awful that it just defied the meaning of awful. It was so terrible. It's hard to put it into words. It's real, okay, so, wow. I mean, I don't think I've ever had this many fuck you characters in a list for this show so far. So that should tell you guys something about how terrible this fucking piece of shit season was. So, I have 5 tiers I have the fuck you tier, the dumb and dull tier, could have been better tier, had good moments tier, and the best, even if the story sucked tier. So the first one in the fuck you category, the worst character of the season, was Ursula from Red Tide. Ursula, it was really funny. As soon as her character came on in the second episode, I knew that she was going to be a problem. The tone of her scenes conflicted with the stuff that was going on in the main plot. She's this jokey, meta character who just kind of makes little quips about Tarantino and all those trendy filmmakers that people talk about nowadays. There was nothing to her character, and I knew that she would come on and she would ruin the story. And that's exactly what happened. And her character, it was so horrible. She was so evil and so annoying and so just hateable that, I don't know if I'll ever be able to like her on the show. That's how bad she was. You guys talk about how you hate this villain, you hate that villain. Even all the villains, the Axeman, people like that, none of them are as bad as Ursula. She is the fucking worst. And next up after Ursula, we have the token gay couple from Death Valley. Now, both of these guys, they were terrible. They were whiny, trendy meta characters who made these disgusting jokes that weren't even funny. They were just these cringeworthy, gross jokes, and that these characters were so fucking unlikable. I wanted them to die as soon as they came on screen. The fact that they're gay, it was that was all that there was to their characters. They thought, oh, let's have these two guys be gay. That's going to be their character. And, as I've said many, many times, over and over and over again, being gay is not a character trait. No matter what you want to pretend, it's not a character trait. And I'm sick and tired of these one-dimensional gay characters who are just shoved in there to please the gay demographic, because it's not doing anything good. It's not good. Next up is Alma. This is the daughter in the first half. I liked her character at first. I thought it was an interesting and kind of scary idea for her to become a vampire, and that for her father to have to sort of help her basically bring her blood and all that stuff and try to keep her in check and make sure she's not killing people. Well, this bitch, I'm sorry, I'm not, the actress, it's not her fault, it's the writers, I know that, but this bitch character, she kills the sheriff, and that's just one of many retarded decisions that she makes because she's a kid. She shouldn't be having this fucking superior power to everyone. She shouldn't be, because there's this one other character who makes a good point at a certain point in the show where he says, okay, you're the best now, what's next? And she just sat there angry because she's immature, she doesn't know what she's doing, and her character was so unlikable. At a certain point, she just kept on playing the same old character over and over and over again, and they just had it to where she was unbeatable. She was the Omen. Just imagine if they made, instead of making a remake to Firestarter with her which I watched, unfortunately. They should have made a remake of The Omen and had her as Damiana or something, because she would have been perfect. That's how hateable she was. Next up is Valiant Thor. This is a particularly irritating one for me because if you guys don't know, Valiant Thor is a really interesting real-life character who claimed that he was an alien, and there was a report that he actually got into the White House and talked to the president at that time, and they didn't even care, and it was this really odd thing, and he had some sort of information from aliens too about technology and about the future, and they totally ruined his character. They turned him into an evil sack of shit, and they just, to me, I think that they really wasted the opportunity of this character. And if I were Valiant Thor, which I don't know where Valiant Thor is, but if I were him, I'd be pissed off. Because what would have been cooler, too, what if you got the real Valiant Thor to be on the show? Like, that would have been whole other levels of epic. So next up is the town something guy. I don't know what he is. Like, there's a lot of characters on here who I don't even really remember them. Like, I can barely remember. I don't remember, like, any names. That's for sure, except for, like, a couple. Ursa, Alma, Chemist, and that's it, basically. But the guy who's a regular on the show, he played Stanley in Freak Show. He plays this really boring, quirky, another like gay meta character who's like this town hall person, and he makes like one joke and then he's gone. And I guess the actor was busy or something. They shouldn't have just had him in it at all, because I still remember how like cringeworthy that was, his character. Like, it was just so out of nowhere. It was just so like, ugh. Next up, I don't know who this guy is, honestly. I guess he's from, I don't know. I literally don't know who this character is. Like, obviously he's not any good, or else I remember, oh, I remember this character. Okay, I'm gonna put her fucking... Okay, next up is, I guess she was the replacement sheriff. She comes in and she's investigating, well, where is the sheriff? Like, after a month or two, someone finally comes to investigate where the sheriff went. The only police person in town, by the way. Her character... Ugh. Next up is the two millennial girls from Death Valley. You have the fucking Gerber girl, and you have the girl who's allergic to semen. These characters were almost just as bad as the token gays. They were extremely unlikable. They were terrible at acting, and I just wanted them to die. They were absolutely horrendous. Especially the Gerber girl and her little, like, she's just a model. And I noticed this in Season 5, and by the way, I hate Season 5. Season 5 is trash. And I just can't wait to get over with that shitty ass fucking season. These models on the show, coming onto the show, they can't act worth a shit. They can't. All they do is just stand there and look pretty. I just can't stand it. It's so irritating, the fact that it feels like the show got too mainstream. And that was one of the many problems. So next up, another black and white character. I can't remember who he is at all. He's got a suit on, so he must be somebody important. I don't I don't even remember. Next up is the chemist. This character was so awful. Originally, there was reports that she was going to be in the second half, and it kind of made sense because there was something with her to do with, like, she did these forbidden experiments, and then she created the vampire virus with these pills. And I really feel like her character was wasted. She had this really stupid character where she wants to live in the middle of nowhere, and just she's a lot like Marie or Queenie from season 3, where they do these awful things, and then they think they're not going to have any sort of blame for it. They're not going to have to deal with any of the consequences. And, she just kind of wants to live in the middle of nowhere. And then all of a sudden, she goes off and rides into the sunset with Alma. And it just, very unlikable character. Because she refused to make a cure, too. That was another thing. Instead, she helped make more evil vampire pills. Next up is the quote-unquote good alien from Death Valley, the half-alien, half-human. I really don't know. I can barely remember this trash character, but at the top of the fuck you tier is the sheriff from Red Tide. She was so stupid. She comes into these people's house without any permission from anyone, and she starts illegally questioning the daughter, trying to force her to tell her that, like, oh, my dad killed people. Like, she is a horrible, horrible sheriff. And she started, like, making these... I can't remember. There was something about, like, making a comparison to, like, soldiers kill people, and I don't know. There was some really stupid line that she said that, she deserves to be in the fuck you tier, because she could have been a good character, but she just turned out to be trash, and then she got killed. In the dumb and dull section, we have Ursula, the same actress, playing this character who she gets abducted every couple of years, and she just kind of deals with it. She's really not a good character. She's just kind of there to provide exposition. I really wasn't a fan of her. I thought that she could have been a lot better, honestly. But at the same time, like, she was dull. Like, I don't know, like, with this actress, for some reason, they just can't find a good character for her to play. I think she could play a good character, maybe. It's just, I haven't seen it yet in all the seasons I've seen her in. Next up is Marilyn Monroe from Death Valley. I don't even know why she's on this list, because she's only in it for, like, a scene, and it's like a nightmare scene where I think she's, like, having sex with an alien, or an alien rapes her or something. I mean, now that fucking shitty porno movie Blonde came out, can we stop raping Marilyn Monroe? Like, why is it that, like, Marilyn Monroe just gets raped all day and night on on film and television? Like, I'm just sick and tired of it. Like, okay, we get it. You don't like the fact that these actresses were strong and powerful, and they were sexy and classic, and you're trying to degrade them and trying to turn their stories into, oh, they were just these poor victims and blah, 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 blah. But, just stop raping her. Like, just please stop it. Like, just let her rest in peace, stop raping her, and move on. Uh, rape no one. Next up is the husband of the old lady vampire. This husband was a jerk, and he was an okay character. It's just that he was just kind of there to serve her, and he wasn't really a great character at all. It's too bad because, once again, I felt like he could have been a great character. A great, like, flashback character in the same way that Pepper's sister was in season 4. Next, the top of the dumb and dull is Steve Jobs. I can't even remember, like, this was like a glorified cameo because, he was hardly on the show. It wasn't actually Steve Jobs. It was just like a goofy joke. Oh, look, these celebrities are in Area 51 as well. Really bad. So in the could have been better, I have both of Lily Rabe's characters next to each other, actually. So Amelia Earhart, her character just comes and goes in 2 seconds, and it's really, really disappointing, obviously, because that's like a classic mystery that people talk about with, whatever happened to her. And honestly, she should have been a star alongside, or like Mamie Eisenhower, the way that Mamie lasted the whole season of a measly 4 episodes. They should have had Amelia last the whole season, and something happened with her, I don't know. Next up is her other character, the wife. Now, this character was really, really good. Like, I really loved her in this season. I know I got a lot of criticism for disliking the Gaslight episode. The reason I didn't like it is because they purposefully dumbed her down to appease the story that was shitty as hell. And what they did was they made her fall for her own daughter. She's a grown-ass woman, and they made her fall for her daughter and take the vampire pill, even though we knew that she wasn't talented, which was BS to begin with, because even somebody who isn't talented at something can get better at doing that certain thing. And so it really made no sense that she just completely devolved in this one episode. Another thing is that they kind of teased that even though she became a vampire that was like a shitty vampire who just is like a druggie, they teased that her character would actually still kind of remembered who she was a little bit, and then they did nothing with that, and it was so disappointing. It would have been so much more satisfying if maybe she came to save the day and killed the leading vampires instead of the stupid daughter. Next up is Mamie Eisenhower. I really wish I could have put her character in the best, but over the course of the season, she becomes really unlikable, and the story that they give her is really, really terrible. The thing she does to Ike, she cheats on him, she manipulates him into, making the deal with the aliens. She leaves him for Valiant Thor. Oh my God. Really, really bad. And it's too bad because Crybaby, she gave a fantastic performance. And she really made the real life character someone to look up. Like someone to, look into and go like, ooh, she's interesting. So it's too bad that the story didn't match with her acting ability. And it was her final performance. And I will say, she gave a great final performance. I really cheer her on for doing that, because honestly, there have been a lot of other actors on this series who have come and gone, and I really appreciate that even though she left, that she went out with a great role, which was what Jessica Lange did as well. And so I think that that's good. At the top of the could have been better list is the tattoo artist from Red Tide. Now this character, everyone talked about her and how she had wasted potential. She was in charge of turning all the vampires into vampires, essentially, because you had to go to her to get your teeth sharpened. And then she also made the fake teeth that you wore so that you could pretend you're a human. This character disappeared into the background, and it was really disappointing that she didn't get anything to do. I mean, it was very disappointing. She was a cool character, and it was like, what the fuck? In the had good moments, I just put this random drag queen in there because I did really like Evan Peters' drag queen backstory. I thought that was really funny and fun, and I remember this character being good, I guess, although she was just an origin character. Next up is the possessed housewife from Death Valley. She was a good character. I mean, I don't know what to say. She had good moments. She was possessed by the aliens, and she was pretty evil. I mean, the wife wasn't evil, but she would, when she was possessed, she would make people's heads explode. It was pretty cool. At the top of the had good moments is Richard Nixon. He was really hilarious. I thought that he did a fantastic job as this character. It's just that he was kind of just a funny side character. It's too bad that the black and white story wasn't the whole season, because I feel like he could have been a great complex character, Richard Nixon, and I feel like they did waste him. In the best tier, we have the other violinist guy in Red Tide. Now, he basically told Alma, you're a fucking retarded ass bitch, and you may think that you're happy now, but you're not going to be happy, because what's going to happen after you're the best? And then he immediately got killed because he was just spitting facts at her. And I mean, he was cool. Like, he just came on and he just schooled her, and then he was killed. So I had to put him in the best, because I really loved that, somebody finally said something to her. Next up is the old lady vampire and Evan Peters vampire in Red Tide. These characters were really, really good. They were great villains. They were scary. They were cool. They were stylish. It's just too bad that the way that they... I mean, you would have thought that these guys were unbeatable. They were really scary. But they got beaten in like 2 fucking seconds. It was really disappointing. But their characters, I really thought that they were great villains, and I would definitely rank them up there if we were just ranking the villains. Next up is President Eisenhower. This actor gave an incredible unrated performance. I mean, he really embodied this character, and honestly, I could have watched a whole season starring him. He gave the character a lot of depth. even though the story was clearly like a goofy, stupid thing that wasn't supposed to be taken seriously. He gave it depth. Next up is Kevin McAllister and the homeless woman vampires. This couple, I guess they were a couple. This couple, I really think that they stole the show in Red Tide. I mean, their ending with the tragic murder-suicide when they're both vampires, it was very, very fantastic. And honestly, I could have followed the whole season watching just them. Both of their characters were fully three-dimensional, had full arcs, and I really loved their stories. And I thought they were perfect. They both gave fantastic performances. But at the very top of the list is the father, the main character from Red Tide, even though he was not a very good father for letting Alma become a vampire. I really thought that this character also stole the show because he was such a great lead, he was such a great protagonist that you wanted to follow, and he was somebody that you cared about what happened to him, and you wanted him to succeed, and you really thought, like, I don't know, you thought he would have gotten better, because he honestly, the unfortunate part is that they gave Dandy Mott more success than this guy. They gave a fucking serial killer, psychopathic fucking maniac. They gave him more than this normal dad protagonist ever got. And so I just have to laugh at that like, like, he really deserved a lot better, but still he gave a really good performance. He's very memorable. He felt like, he was trying, even though he was a terrible dad, he was trying. And so, it's a lot better than, like, Ursula and the chemist, what they were trying to do with Alma. So anyways, that's the characters from the Double Feature season. It just reminded me of how bad the season was. Like, honestly, no matter how much I was disappointed by Season 4, Season 3, Season 2, Season 1, and how they ended, Double Feature was just abysmal. Like, this is clearly the worst season I've seen so far. So anyways, please like this video, comment, tell me if you think I should still do that X-Files video, because I still will. And then please subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more ranking, movie reviews, TV show reviews, video game reviews, just more videos on our channel in general. Goodbye everybody, see you soon.